Christian Anarchist here, and today I decided to do a serious video concerning the topic of universalism and how you can easily refute that. Now, the one thing I will always tell people is if they want to easily refute this, they could go to the book of Revelations, which goes into detail about the concepts of the eternal punishment and the revelation that is to come. So, if you ever get a chance, check that book out, of course, and recommend any other Universalist you meet to read that book and see if they can get something out of it. Not just snippets, read the entire book in its entire context. Matthew 25, starting at verse 31 through 46, is where you should read. I don't have enough time to read all of it now, so just keep that in mind that that's where you're going to have to check out if you want to understand what it is I'm getting at. So within the context of this passage, Jesus is talking about when the Son of Man shall come in his glory and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another as a shepherd divided the sheep from the goats. Now keep in mind, sheep from goats and shepherd are the key words here. Jesus is referred to as the shepherd, and his sheep are his people. Sheep, his followers. So basically, the Christians, the saved, are the sheep that follow. The goats, on the other hand, are being represented as the non-believers, and we'll get more into that in a second. And here's how he divides them. You shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. So the sheep are on the right hand, and goats are on the left. Normally, there's other parallels where it talks about God using his right hand to hold up his people that are going to be with him in heaven. So, just make sure to keep in mind that we have parallels concerning the right hand and the sheep and his people. Then shall the king say unto them unto the right hand, Come ye, blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. This is also referring to the sense that before we came into this existence, God knew us, and he had set this place up for us. And this is where then Jesus was, of course, predicting that he would die for us, and we would be saved if we follow him. And that's the thing we have to keep in mind. Through Christ is the only way to salvation. There is no getting around the fact that you can believe in any other gods or no gods and still be saved. It comes down to contradicting what God says in the rest of his word. But that was in verse 34, and on verse 41 he says, Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. Now, some people have tried to say this just means, oh, it's for the devil and his angels. This just means the demons. And this is not talking about human beings. This is referring to those who don't believe, who are not of God, who are not of his people. And the way he identifies this, the Bible anyways, the way it identifies this is that it goes into detail by saying that if you do these certain things and you don't repent of them, then you are of your father, the devil. So, if you are of your father, the devil, you would rather follow your father, be obedient to your father, and have him as your father over God. So, when we have a clear consideration that the people who are on the left, the non-believers, are sent to everlasting fire, eternal punishment, hell, that has to be a clear sign that universalism is refuted. And that in 34, for those come ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. That's for the believers. That's for those who believe in Jesus Christ. Now, one of the most commonly passages that will be used by some to justify this is also the most very common John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. By the way, that was verse 17. And notice the qualifying. But that the world through him might be saved. And then verse 18. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. And this, verse 19, and this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. So, just think about that, and how universalism is refuted easily within these passages. Shalom.